Hello, friends. I think now that Japan is no longer in the World Cup, it may be a good moment to talk a little bit about the future head coach and who it might be, and who I hope it will be. Um, I suppose number one, I hope it's not somebody who's already done the job before. I really don't think we can be doing with either John Cohen or Eddie Jones. And John Cohen has apparently recently said that he would be interested in a director of rugby job if such were available. But honestly, I don't think the JRFU has enough money to pay for two coaches, what effectively it would turn out to be, surely. And the only way they would be able to get money is by charging more for tickets, which are already too expensive, in my opinion. Last year I went to Japan, Uruguay, and fairly not great tickets, albeit quite close to the ground, but 4,000 yen or something. So for me, that's not an option in any way. They're not advertising for a director of rugby, so I think we can knock that one on the head. As far as Eddie Jones is concerned, I got the impression he was going to be coaching Australia until the Rugby World Cup 2027, which is their home World Cup. And however much the Australian media and probably quite a lot of Australian fans may wish it was otherwise, frankly speaking, I think we have to take him at his word that he wasn't applying for job before the World Cup, which he said he didn't know what. When he was asked about it, he didn't know what the question was about, or what the person asking it was talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, mate, were his exact words, I think. And honestly, I don't think we need him back. I don't think he was terribly popular with the players, and of course, they ought to have some kind of input into this. I mean, the players are not children, and they can't be treated like children. And I would have thought consulting with a senior player such as Michael Leach would be quite interesting for the JRFU to do. I think he'd be quite fair, but I'd be surprised if he came down for a second dose of Eddie Jones, knowing how hard they were all driven before Rugby World Cup 2015. I mean, I think it was pretty severe. Anyway, that's really enough about Jones. I think I'm tired of discussing him, honestly. So, as I understand it, the situation now is that the JRFU has narrowed the selection down to 3 people, and they've all had one interview, and they're due for a second one in November coming up. So what we know for a fact is that Frans Ludeke is one of them. He's told I think Rugby News Japan, he told that he was one of them and that he was expecting a second interview. And I think he's a really promising option. If I can just share the screen I've got here, which is admittedly it's Wikipedia, and it's a bit it is Wikipedia, so you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But there we are. He's what, 55 years old, which is about the right age, I would say. He's got huge amounts of experience in South Africa, and he's got some with Fiji as well in the 2015 World Cup. And above all, he's got last year he led Kubota to their first ever championship in Japan. So that's a huge bonus, or a huge thing in his favor, I would say. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I've heard absolutely nothing said against him. He's a family man, and what else? He's got all this experience and skill, and I think he'd do a really good job. And I think also, if you look at the balance between the coaches that you've had John Kerwin, who was New Zealand. You've had Eddie Jones, Australia. Well, why not a South African coach? Particularly since they're doing rather well in the Rugby World Cup, having just beaten France. And they may they may win the final as well. There's every prospect of it. But anyway, why not have a South African coach who's thought well of and who has clearly had success in Japan already? So he's already got over the cultural, or most of, shall we say, the cultural hiccups that people have, and some people don't actually get over that hurdle of living in Japan and dealing with a slightly different way of doing things day after day. I'm speaking of someone who's been here since 1988, so I don't have that problem anymore, really. Okay, so I think he is, if I can put it as a slogan, he's the man with a plan for Japan. And there we are. There's a Japanese article about him. He's smiling with Tatekawa, the Kubota captain, who was not in the Japan squad this time. I think it was due to injury, but that would have to be confirmed by somebody else. Anyway, yeah, Tatekawa is a very strong centre, and yeah, this is discussing his work as head coach for Kubota and his ideas about leadership and so on. Yeah, and I think he's gone down really well in Japan. He's got good players. I mean, is it Malcolm Marks, the Springbok, who's currently not in the Springbok squad because of injury, but or had to go home, I think. At any rate, I think he's a man with sincerity. I think he's a man who's got ideas about how the game is played. And he's a new face, so he's got an awful lot in his favour. So I'm backing him. Assuming we know he's one of the three. We don't know who the others might be. If it's Jones, I think Jones has shown extremely bad faith, and by saying that he wasn't even, or implying that he wasn't even interviewed the first time round. And there are plenty of things I've heard about Jones which don't please me. We don't know who the third person might be. No idea, honestly. But I would say that Ludeke is, for me, he's definitely the front runner at this stage. Well, okay, so that's more or less what I wanted to say about that. But I just put a little plug in for the book I translated, which is this one, 8 Steps to Build an Invincible Team, a Rugby Coaching Bible from Japan, which you can find on this website here, ianruxton.wixsite.com/8-steps-to-make. When I was making this website, I actually wrote make instead of build, which was what I meant to write. But anyway, so there we are. That's the title. I've had 1,911 views of this website so far since November of last year, so less than a year ago. Facebook photos of the book. Well, there are all kinds of photos of this book. So let's take a quick look. Oh, that's from my recent trip to Sri Lanka, by the way. That's another book altogether. Yeah, so this is the actual book. And lots of pictures of it. And it's even in the library of the university where I used to work. I donated a copy. So there it is in the library. And one copy has traveled to France and been signed by huge numbers of people. This is Noboru Hanji-san has done that. He actually bought 2 copies and he's left one at home. And he's taken one to France. So you've got all kinds of people signing it. There you are in the stadium. French people or whoever, I don't know. There's presumably a Frenchman. So that's quite entertaining. And let's see. Well, if we just scroll down, let's take a look. There's some news about the availability of the book in various formats: small paperback, larger paperback, which is 6 by 9 inches, and Kindle, ebook, and hardcover, which is only available from Amazon.com. And the author. Well, yeah, we want to talk about the author. So there he is, Toshiyuki Hayashi. He's former captain of Japan rugby team. I say a little bit about myself here, and then I introduce him. He was born in Tokushima Prefecture. He played for Dorsetshire and then Kobe Steel, now Kobelco Kobe Steelers, and he represented Japan for 13 years at lock. Played for Oxford against Cambridge. He's a member of the Barbarians. He's an elite rugby player. And he also gives lectures and motivational seminars, lectures at universities. And Ian Williams, who was a teammate, has kindly written an introduction. And this is why I wanted to translate the book. You can read through that as well. This is the original Japanese book, which you can, if you click on this, you can go there to let's see, you can find it on Amazon Japan. There we are. Let's go back, shall we? Sorry, let's get rid of that. And right at the bottom on the footer, I've got links to my other pages, including my new Sri Lanka book and Anisato research, which is my main research, and my homepage. All right. So yeah, I just thought I'd give a little introduction to that. And I think that's probably enough. So anyway, Ludeke for Japan is my view. So thank you very much for your time, and see you again soon. Bye.